wanted to lead off the top talking about this Iowa football passing game. You and I have sat here and discussed the wide receivers for Iowa. Feels like the Hawkeyes have upgraded that room, but with this being year 2 for Tim Lester, with the splash for the Hawkeyes out of the transfer portal, going and getting Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State, where he's a multiple-time, 2-time FCS national champion, the winningest quarterback in FCS history, though understandably that's a tied mark, but he does have the tie there for the most wins of any quarterback in FCS history. With that coming in and what we think Iowa has done with its wide receiver room, is the emphasis greater than ever before for Iowa to show that they've fixed the passing game this season?
Well, I would hope so. If we said Mark Gronowski stats many times on this show, and if anyone who's in the audience right now has done their research, Mark Gronowski is a very solid passer. He's coming in with the reputation of being the best passer we've had in, so some years, not a super long time, but definitely in recent memory. So, and to have the core that we do, like the depth chart right now, Reese Vanderzee, Jacob Gill, and Seth Anderson are right now the top 3 on the depth chart. I'm looking at Dayton Howard's up there, Caden Weegan, Sam Phillips, who just transferred here from Chattanooga. Then you got KJ Parker, too, who's a young guy who's probably going to be a key piece in the year or two. You got 7 receivers you could throw in, and you can expect them to be productive. That's not even including Addison Strang and Zach Ortworth at the tight end. Then you bring in Mark Gronowski, who's thrown for over I don't even know how many passing yards it is, but it's 2,000.
I got it scrolling for you at the bottom. It's over 10,000.
Yeah, over 10,000. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing it right now. Yeah, 10,000. So, if you bring in this type of quarterback who could really throw the deep ball with this plethora of receivers, you have to think that our offense is going to, be definitely way improved from where it was last year, dramatically improved from where it was 2-3 years ago. And you have to expect that it's going to be the best passing game in some time. And, if that doesn't happen, then, there's some other things you got to look at. But right now, all we can do is be optimistic of what we have and what's to come.
One thing I think that Hawkeye fans will find out about me, and Chris, I don't know if you're this way, but I'm certainly, at least I try to be, wired this way, where I don't typically live in absolutes when it comes to sports. I understand that's not the First Take model, and that's not this debate show and that debate show model. That's sort of maybe the opposite of how sports talk typically operates these days. So I don't generally exist in that it's one way or the other, right? The land of absolutes. Having said that, because Iowa went out and got Mark Gronowski, because I think it's clear the wide receivers have taken a step forward. They're older. They're wiser. Reese Vanderzee is somebody you're excited about. Dayton Howard is, now someone that's been in the program for a little while, as has Seth Anderson. You supplemented with Sam Phillips. Jacob Gill, somebody that produced for this football team a year ago. Caden Weegan brings a little bit different dimension to this Hawkeye offense. Because of all of those factors working together, along with the fact that it's year 2 for Tim Lester, count me in the camp that, though, again, I won't subscribe to the land of absolutes, I'll be concerned if by season's end for Iowa, we're looking at another Hawkeye offense that didn't really figure out the passing game. I'm expecting steps forward. Some might say, oh, great, here we go again with the Hawkeye passing attack. But I do think this is an important year for Tim Lester, for Kirk Ferentz, to show that this is not going to be a football program under his direction for however much longer that will go, with Kirk Ferentz as your head football coach, that they can figure out the throw game. They can be at times routinely explosive in the passing game. If not right here, right now, with Mark Gronowski, and of course, all of this assumes a clean bill of health for Gronowski over the course of this season. But if not right here, right now with Mark Gronowski, then I think it's fair to ask when.
And you're exactly right. If this doesn't work out, like I said, there's just some other things that we're going to have to, be serious about and really take a long look at, really a long observation of. And, like you was just saying, there's a lot of receivers that we have that could produce, but at the same time, they all bring a certain, element that each of them might not have. Like Reese Vanderzee is a taller receiver. He's 6'4". That's a bigger target. Kaden Weegan is just a speed guy. You give him the ball, he could probably take it 30 yards off a 2-yard catch. And I even mentioned the others. Jacob Gill is a good slot receiver. He knows how to get in space and really work his way. So, and combine that with Tim Lester coming back after his second year and not, going out and, doing the recruiting that he usually would. He stayed back and really wanted to develop the offense. So now you have to expect that we take a fair step forward. We lost an elite running back, but we got so many receivers. The passing game is not the backbone of the offense, but it's a big element that could really take us to the next level. I believe last year we averaged about 27 points per game. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the year before, I think it was like a low 14 to 16.
Like
So
right
that's
at 15.
yeah, big step itself. Now we took this big step without the necessarily the passing that we expected. Now we have the passing, and on top of that, we have good enough running backs that could at least produce combine the quality of running that Caleb Johnson had last year. I'm expecting about at least 30 to 35 points a game. That's my expectation. And like you said, you don't really want to put a ribbon on it and already call it a gift right now. You don't want to, be certain about it and don't want to necessarily, I don't want to say not buy in, but so many things could happen in the sport that the unexpected is expected, and a lot could happen to where, yes, our roster looks good right now, but one thing it cannot produce for some reason, injuries could happen. We have a lot of receivers that just derail for some reason. So we'll just see how it all plays out. But the spring, it's been looking pretty good. We talked about the spring practice the past two shows, and the passing looked really good. Obviously, they made an emphasis to show fans that we could throw the ball, whether it's Mark Gronowski, whether it's Jackson Stratton, whether it's Hank Brown. You got the guys that have the arm to throw the ball, and you got the guys that can catch the ball and get downfield. So a lot to look forward to, man. I'm hoping that this lives up to what I don't want to say expect that. Okay, I'm gonna say what we expect it to be. I don't really know the other word I can use, but expect is the word.
Well, I think the expectation is that this is the season where you're legitimately not one dimensional, right? That the throw game is something you can depend upon. That if it's third down and 5, third down and 7, you're confident that Mark Gronowski, as your signal caller, as your trigger man, if he's going to drop back and find one of those tight ends, Ostrenga, Ortworth, or others, or if it's this wide receiving core that he can, on a consistent basis, go convert those types of downs for you. Or he's athletic enough, Chris, to where he's going to tuck and run and go extend drives, but that being a product of a throw game that you have to respect, right? Because probably a quarterback's not going to off script, tuck and run and go pick up a first down if you don't at least respect the pass catchers and the quarterback that's on the field trying to throw it to him, right? If you can just quarterback spy all day, then probably you're not going to be able to off script go, extended drive. So again, if not now for Iowa, then I think that's problematic. And you say win. So for me, if the question is the pressure on for Iowa football to fix the passing game in year 2 with Tim Lester, I say yes. Can Iowa win a different way? Have the Hawkeyes shown that they're capable of winning with defense and special teams? Yes, that has been the calling card for some time. But fans want to see that they can win a different way, that with a quarterback, with the reputation of Gronowski, that he can at times this season, Chris, go out and win a football game at the quarterback position, right? Not with Caleb Johnson in the backfield. And obviously now in this case, it'll be Kamari Moulton, it'll be Jazian Patterson, or one of those other couple of running backs for the Hawkeyes. But that Gronowski can go win you a football game, and this passing attack can go win you a football game. And frankly, it's long overdue, and these fans deserve to see that happen.
Absolutely. And I don't want to take away from, the reputation we have on defense, but you have to think about all the pieces we lost on defense. Jay Higgins, Nick Jackson, Wyatt Black. We lost so many pieces on defense. Jamari Harris, now let me forget him, Sebastian Castro. So now looking at it as the roster is right now, if we're going to win football games, this year's a little different because now we're going to have to win through offense. Our defense is going to hold up as we usually do, and we're still going to be a very well above average defense. But we're probably not going to be the top 5 defense, at least expectation wise, unless they go out and prove to us that they are a little different, that they could hold up. I wouldn't doubt that either because Iowa's defense has always been amazing. But this year is more looking like, okay, well, we're going to actually put points on the board. And there's an opportunity where maybe we could just outscore some teams and not have to stop them at the 1 yard or the 5 yard line like we're accustomed to doing. So that's kind of the expectation, at least my expectation of them. You know, you could expect some defense, some offense, but it's exciting to see knowing that we're heading into a season feeling more confident about the offense than we felt in some time. And just to know that the offense could possibly put up some high scoring games and not necessarily win it in the trenches like we're used to doing brings a whole different element. Hawkeye fans will always be here, but I'm sure there's some more fans, some loyal fans that are actually going to be more excited because now instead of winning games 16-14 or 23-20, now we can maybe win a game 35-28. Maybe we could win a game of 41-35. It's really exciting, and Hawkeye fans we should be optimistic unless they give us another reason to not be optimistic. But I believe Coach Ferentz, greatest coach in the game, 27 years and counting. He's going to figure out a way. Tim Lester will figure out a way. We're going to be all right.